Casima One Shy Blade. You're not actually early. You're right on time. I was actually early for once, because YouTube still won't let me schedule the live streams for some reason. I still cannot figure that out. So I'm starting a few minutes early to give people a chance to find it. So we're just gonna wait another 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll get going around 9 p.m. FYI, I'm sorry in advance about my voice. I'm a little more congested than normal today. It's that time of year, I guess. So, I fully expect my voice to sound like absolute garbage tonight. Which, I guess is normal for me. I know it sounds like crap most of the time. Sorry. Not much I can do about that. So yeah, how about Hawkeye episode 5, huh? How about that big reveal at the end? I believe we have the finale at 3 a.m. tonight, or tomorrow morning, rather. Wonder if the big man will actually make an appearance in there, or if they're saving that one for the Echo spin-off series, which I still can't believe is a thing. Right. Oh, dear God. Bridget Regan just posted a still from Batwoman. So it looks like Pamela Isley might be showing up. Oy. With like 6 episodes left in this season. Better late than never, I guess. Come on. There it goes. Sorry, I'm just getting a capture of that photo. Might use it as a screen, as a thumbnail at some point. All right, 33 people. Okay. Batwoman reviews forever. Well, I can only do them as long as the show continues. And, well, this time last year, the show had already been renewed for a Season 3 for quite a while. No Season 4 renewal yet, so, and also, so we know that the creative team is now working on Gotham Knights. So, TikTok Batwoman. Alright. Goes over here. Okay. Alright, I guess we can start now. Thanks everybody for showing up. Yeah, sorry. Just looking at the chat room. Yeah, thanks for showing up. Before we get started, I'd just like to give you a quick reminder that my voice sounds like garbage because I have chronic allergies, and also I'm extra congested today, so I apologize in advance about my voice. It's going to sound terrible. I know it always sounds pretty bad, but might sound worse today. I know that's giving you such a great incentive to stick around. Not much I can do about it. Nothing seems to help, really. But here we are anyway. I'm sorry I couldn't. There was no scheduled stream because YouTube still won't let me do that. I still don't know why. But that's why I put the notice in the community tab and on my Twitter page, and I always post a link to the stream on my Twitter page. So if you want to be notified about streams, that's the best way to do it. Follow me on there. And yeah, okay, let's just get to it. So if you're new here, the way this works is I give my thoughts on the episode, and then we do super chats and comments at the end. Right before we can all sit down to watch Hawkeye episode 6 at 3 a.m. I might save that for a day or two because I want to try to get up early because Matrix Resurrections begins or opens tomorrow, I believe. So I'm going to try to catch a matinee of that. Anyway, let's get to what you guys are here for. Hawkeye episode 5. The one with the best cliffhanger ever. So it begins with Yelena. Fucking gnats. God damn it. But the gnats have been all over the place today, like the last couple of weeks. Weather's been so mild. It was like 62 degrees 2 days ago. Unbelievable. Whatever. Yeah, so episode 5 begins with Yelena. So we're catching up with her first. Since the Black Widow movie ended, Yelena's been hunting down all the other widows and freeing them from the Red Room's control. Her and some other widow break into a house and surprise a third widow named Anna. They fight for a minute, they spray her with the gas, but it turns out she's not being controlled. This is actually Anna's house, which she paid for and everything. By doing contract killing. Everybody's got a thing, don't they? So they have a little chat, and I guess Anna got away from the Red Room herself, somehow. It's not entirely clear. But Yelena's been trying to free everyone, and they talk about what she's done with that. Excuse me. Talk about when she's done with that. I can't read today. They talk about when she's done with that, she's going to go live out her Sex and the City fantasy of living with Natasha in New York. Which makes Yelena a little bit uncomfortable for some reason. So she excuses herself to go to the bathroom, where she gets blipped. And they do this cool thing where she immediately comes back and the whole house changes, and she walks out of the bathroom and everything is different. And the way it's staged, it all looks like it was one continuous shot with no cuts. Now, obviously, there had to be a cut in there, but it looked like there was no cuts in there. It was really well done. So Anna's still living there, but now she's married, and they even adopted a kid during the 5 years. So Anna fills her in on everything that's happened, and Yelena's like, oh, man, I need to find Natasha. I gotta tell her I'm okay. And yeah, she's in for a rude awakening. So 5 years later, so now we're back to the present 5 years later. Kate comes home. She's beat up from the fight with Yelena and Maya, but it's her feelings that hurt the most because Clint told her to go home and stay away from him. She's crying. She's really emotional about it. And her mom consoles her, but the mom is taking this a little bit too well. And she doesn't seem surprised by any of it. So there's a major hint right there. Excuse me. So she patches Kate up. Kate talks about how she had all these ideas about being a superhero and how, like, she thought this was what she was meant to do, but now she just feels like an idiot for thinking that, and she's feeling really bad about herself, and the mom doesn't discourage her exactly, but she does try to steer Kate away from the superhero thing in that way that moms do. And again, she's being very understanding, but it's weird how not angry or upset she is. Then Kate tells her about the stuff that she and Clint found out about the fiancé Jack, and the mom does not look surprised at all. So at this point, I was pretty sure that the mom was the real villain. I mean, the signs are all there, and the whole thing with Jack was just way too obvious, and that's That's better than Jack being the villain, but none of it really matters since we know who the real big bad is now, so we're really just counting down to him showing up. So we cut to Maya getting patched up by not Kit Harington. She tells him what happened during the fight and how this is bigger than they thought. He's trying to get her to drop the whole thing. She refuses because she's so close to getting her revenge now. So he tells her that he'll help her capture the Ronin, but after they kill him, this whole thing needs to be enough. Like they need to stop after that. Then we have like the best scene ever. Like this scene was fantastic, where Kate goes back to her apartment to get her stuff, if any of it didn't get burned up in the fire, and Yelena's there waiting for her, but not to kill her. She was just waiting to have a chat. And she even made mac and cheese for dinner because she got hungry while she was waiting. And what follows is a delightfully awkward conversation where Yelena keeps weirding Kate out with how casual she is about everything. Like, Yelena's like, yeah, so it's my first time in New York. It's a business trip, so I don't have a lot of free time. Oh, hey, do you mind if I put hot sauce on the macaroni? No? Great. I love hot sauce so much. It's the best. Oh, for the record, I could have totally killed you the second you walked in. Anyway, I would have been. It would have been super easy. I could have just like that. You would have been dead before you hit the floor. So anyway, I want to see some things while I'm here. The Statue of Liberty, the Rockefeller Center, the Christmas tree. I love the Christmas tree. Hey, you live here. Do you have any recommendations? By the way, you know Clint Barton? Yeah, I'm here to kill him. So, this was a great example of what differentiates Yelena from Natasha. Natasha was a lot more direct than this. Or, if she wanted information, she'd get it out of you in such a way that you didn't even realize you were giving it to her. Like the interrogation scene in Avengers, where she's tied to a chair, and the guys think they're roughing her up, but really she's just getting information out of them. Yeah, Yelena's different. She likes to diffuse the tension with awkward humor, and then once your guard is down, she just casually reminds you how dangerous she actually is. And as an added bonus, Yelena's also very, very funny. I don't think the awkwardness is an act. I think she's genuinely socially awkward, which, when you couple it with the Black Widow shtick, makes for a really fun dynamic. And I love Florence Pugh in this role because her comedic timing is on point. Like, you're laughing at everything she does, but at the same time, you're scared of her because at any moment she could kill everyone in the room really easily. So, this was a genuinely funny scene, but the second Clint comes up, the mood changes instantly, and it becomes very uncomfortable. I mean, I continue to be impressed with how well the writers keep pulling that off. So, Kate tries to stick up for Clint, while Yelena is trying to convince her that she doesn't know the real Clint. Like, he saved the world. He came out here to protect me. No, my sister saved the world, and now she's dead because of him, and he came out here to protect his reputation. Like, how well do you even know this guy? Do you know how many people he killed? And now we see that Kate is starting to understand what Clint was trying to teach her before, that this life is not all about adventure and excitement. It comes at a cost. You know, she argues that when you spend your life helping people, there are going to be things that you lose. When you face the threats that Clint has faced, there's going to be collateral damage. There's no way around that. But Yelena's not hearing it. She's like, was my sister collateral damage? Fuck that. Completing this assignment will not be difficult. And so Kate realizes that someone hired Yelena to do this. And she's like, look, if somebody hired you to kill Clint Barton, then you should ask yourself what kind of person hired you, because Clint is not perfect, but he is a good guy. So I think someone's, playing you here. But Yelena's still not listening. But Kate doesn't know where Clint is anyway, so Yelena just thanks her for dinner, reminds Kate not to get in her way again, and jumps out the window. I loved this scene so much. It was equal parts hilarious and unnerving. And it's interesting to me how they've kind of switched roles all of a sudden. Like, first, Kate was the one who had all these ideas about Clint that were not really accurate. And now she's seeing things clearly and understands how complicated the whole thing is, while Yelena's arguing that Clint is just a killer, and she has all these ideas that are wrong. And she's saying that Kate doesn't know the real Clint Barton, but the ironic thing is that Kate probably knows Clint better than Yelena does. It's a really well done role reversal here. So Clint goes to see Grills the LARPer and passes out on his couch. Meanwhile, Kate goes home to find Jack being arrested. He claims he doesn't know anything, and he's weirdly taking all this very well. Like, he's not even upset about it. Like, he says, look, oh yeah, look, if I was in your shoes, I would have called the cops too. I would have done the same thing. You know, this is all a big misunderstanding. I'm sure I'll have all this sorted out in no time. Don't worry. And he's smiling on his way out the door. Seems very good-natured about the whole thing, while the mom just looks utterly ambivalent that her fiancé is being arrested for his uncle's murder. And, you know, all that other stuff. So ambivalent that she pretty much has to be the villain. Like, if I wasn't sure before, I'm sure now. Like they're barely trying to hide it at this point. So Clint goes to visit an Avengers plaque or memorial of some kind. Like, on this site in 2012, the Avengers first assembled. It's really nice. And he starts talking to Natasha. Like, you were the bravest of us, but you always had to win, didn't you? You know, I've replayed that moment a million times in my head, hoping for a different outcome. I do my best every day to earn what you gave me, and I just want to say I miss you, and I'm sorry for what I'm about to do. So the scene starts out really touching and somber, but then, just like that, the mood changes again and it turns really dark and menacing. I know enough now to expect these sudden shifts, but they get me with it every time. Then there's another funny scene where Kate wakes up, looks at all her trophies and awards and stuff, and then she makes up her mind that she's not done, so she calls Clint over and over and over until his mailbox is full. Oh, man. Haley Steinfeld is really good at this stuff. Like, in different hands with a different actress, this would have come off so differently. Like, she would have seemed like very pushy, very SJW-esque, where she's going to get her way whether Clint wants it or not, but with Haley Steinfeld, she plays it like this insecure fangirl. Like, she just really wants her hero to think she's cool, and she really wants to help, and she's so sorry that she kept screwing up before, but there's a charm to it that I think would have been lost with a different actress. So, Clint's not on the phone right now, because he's too busy scaring the crap out of the tracksuit mafia guys. He puts an arrow through their windshield with a message attached to it for Maya to meet the Ronin tonight where she first met him. Then Clint calls Laura. He says this problem keeps getting bigger and someone's looking into their family now, so her and the kids could be in danger. And he's got to end this tonight before the big man gets involved. So at this point, I started like rubbing my hands together in anticipation, because who else could this be? Wasn't 100% sure just yet, but oh man, I was getting pumped. So Laura knows what he's saying here without saying it. She says he didn't call looking for permission, but that's basically what he was doing. And she just says, look, trust your gut, do what you have to do to end this, and you know I'll always get it better than anyone else would. And damn, that is one understanding wife you got there, Clint. In fact, I wonder if Laura might have been an ex-SHIELD agent herself. Like, maybe that's how they met, but she retired once they had kids or something. That would make a lot of sense, because she seems to understand this life like someone who's lived it herself. At any rate, hang on to that lady, Clint. You got one of the good ones there. So cut to Maya waiting for Ronin. She's in a parking lot, so you know some bad shit's about to go down. And she's got all her tracksuit mafia thugs hiding around the place, waiting to get the jump on the Ronin, but Clint is way too sneaky for these guys. So he just takes them down one by one in terrifying fashion. In fact, I even said to myself, like, holy shit, he's taking them out like Daredevil. Like, that's what it felt like. This could have been a scene from Netflix's Daredevil, so naturally it was pretty great. So all her thugs are down. Maya empties her gun, shooting at Ronin, never even comes close to hitting him. Ronin confronts her, they fight for a second time, and Maya puts up a good fight. I mean, she definitely knows what she's doing there, but Clint defeats her pretty easily. And I think it's clear now that in their first fight, Clint was going easy on her because he didn't want to go to that dark, violent place again. But now he's in that place, whether he wants to be or not, so Maya really doesn't have much of a chance here at all. So she's beaten, he takes the mask off, says that he wanted her to see his face, and he's not going to kill her. Like, he wanted to be honest about who he was, but he's not going to kill her. But if anyone comes after him or his family, it'll be the last thing they ever do. And he means it. You know, she says he's a monster, but he counters with, look, the two of us, we're the same, because we're weapons. And when we're filled with rage, it makes us blind, so we can be used and manipulated. And also, he was only there that night. He only killed the father and his gang because he was tipped off by an informant who worked for her boss. Her boss who wanted her father dead. We don't know why. But, you know, he wanted them dead. Kind of weird since the dad seemed like such a good guy in the flashbacks, but no, he was actually a criminal of some kind. And of course, Maya's hurt enough, so she sneak attacks him, she gets a hold of the sword, and she's about to swing it, but she's stopped by Kate's arrow. Kate tracked Clint's phone, so she knew where to find him. So she's got Maya dead to rights, but, you know, Kate's not a killer, so Maya runs away, and Kate has an Uber waiting for them, so her and Clint take off too. Maya meets with not Kit Harington. She's still not really believing this whole thing, but some of the stuff Clint said isn't sitting right with her. So she asks not Kit Harington why he wasn't at the meeting that night. You know, the night her dad was killed, you know, not Kit Harington was in town. He was her dad's number 2. He should have been there with the rest of them, but he wasn't. So why is that? He claims he just didn't get the call, which is obviously bullshit. So she's not buying it, and she rides off. Back in the Uber, Kate tells Clint about Yelena. Cut to Yelena tailing Kate's mom threateningly. And the episode ends at Grill's place where they're all eating breakfast together. And Kate gets a text from Yelena saying she found out who hired her. It was Kate's mom, Eleanor Bishop. And she sends Kate a photo or a video file of the mom talking to someone, and Clint's like, ah, damn it. That's the guy I've been worried about this whole time. Kingpin. And sure enough, there's Eleanor Bishop talking to fucking Vincent D'Onofrio. Boom! Awesome, awesome, awesome. I thought it might be Kingpin. I really didn't want to get my hopes up, so I thought maybe it'll just be the dad. Oh, it'll be another situation like in WandaVision where everyone thought Monica Rambeau's engineer friend was Reed Richards and it turned out to be nobody. It'll be something like that. I'm not going to get myself worked up about this. Yeah, it's just going to be the dad. It's going to be something much less cool. I refuse to believe it's going to happen until I see it. But holy shit, I was so happy to see him. And I recorded my reaction to that honestly. It's on the it's on the live streaming channel right now. So go watch that if you're interested. Fantastic cliffhanger. And it was just what I wanted. And this episode was great. In fact, the writers did something really impressive here in that they made a very slow-paced episode that didn't feel slow-paced. I mean, the Kate Yelena scene alone is like 5-6 minutes of them just talking. But it was like the best scene of the whole show. And there were a bunch of scenes like that where it's just people talking, but there's still a lot going on there. And despite the slow pace and having relatively little action, the episode just flew by. And now we're past the buildup, and we're getting to the really good stuff with Yelena and with Kingpin. Now we're starting to see the real potential of this show. First 2 episodes, I liked them, but they were mostly set up. And some people called those episodes boring, and I didn't really agree with that, but I saw where they were coming from, and I didn't, argue with them. But I don't know how you can be bored if there's a chance that Kingpin might show up in the finale. Kingpin, who to this day I still say is the best villain in the MCU. Yeah, you can keep your Kilgrave, you can keep your Killmonger, you can even keep your Thanos. Wilson Fisk is the best villain in the MCU. Fight me. And I believe episode 6 is the finale, so there should be some big stuff in that. Cannot wait. This show took a minute to get going, admittedly, but I'm really digging it right now. I cannot wait for the finale. But if I have a gripe, well, 2 gripes really, it's the same thing it's been the whole time. I'm less interested in the Kate's family stuff. With Yelena and Kingpin in the mix now, that's what I want to see. That's the direction I want to go in. The stuff with Jack, whatever, he's a red herring, obviously. The mom, I don't dislike her, and it's Vera Farmiga, so I'll be on board with whatever she does. But I mean, she's just a pathway for us to get to Kingpin, which is where I want to be. Also, I hate to say it, but I'm still not getting much from Maya right now. Like, not much at all. And I wouldn't really need to get much out of her, except we know that she's getting her own spin-off show. That's already been announced. And I'm just not feeling it with this character. I mean, the actress does action well enough, but she's not very expressive. Like, she's got a good scowl, but that's kind of all she does, is scowl. And she's not... Like, there's not much to her character right now, except someone who wants revenge. I don't know if that's someone you can necessarily build a show around, at least not yet. And, lest we not forget, I mean, she's also deaf and communicates only through ASL, which, like it or not, does make things a little more difficult if you want her to anchor her own show. That's gonna make things more complicated. That's just a reality of it. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. That she's not the person to build a show around. I mean, not every character is a lead. Not every character needs their own show. And Echo isn't a lead character in the comics, so why try to make her one here? Unless it's just for political reasons, which I imagine it is. So an Echo spin-off show, I don't care, really. Now, if Kingpin's in it, and maybe there could be an appearance by Daredevil too, possibly, you can bet your ass I'll be watching. But I won't be watching for Echo. And it's her show, so that's kind of a problem. I'll be watching for the villain, if he's the villain, and any potential guest appearances by Matt fucking Murdock. But not for Echo. Which you could say is a failure of this show to make her interesting, I guess. Otherwise, episode was terrific. I might not be able to watch the finale tonight. I believe Matrix Resurrections opens tomorrow, so I'm going to try to wake up early to catch a matinee of that. But I always try to get up early, and it never seems to happen, so who knows. Wow, my voice does not sound good at all. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's be honest, the biggest reason to watch Hawkeye is to see Kingpin in action again, especially for fans of the Marvel Netflix shows and or Daredevil. Well, he's currently my biggest reason to watch, yeah. I mean, I was enjoying the show before, but I mean, if Kingpin's there, then he's my reason. Kingpin and Hawkeye occurred around the same week as Daredevil and Spider-Man No Way Home, where he appears as Peter's lawyer in a small cameo. For the Hawkeye example, Kingpin is the main antagonist. Well, I think for all intents and purposes, Echo is the main antagonist just because she's got the most screen time. Kingpin is the man behind the curtain, but I mean, at most we're going to get one episode with him. So I think what's happening is they're setting him up to be the main antagonist of the Echo show. I'm assuming that's when he'll show up next. But yeah, I mean, he's certainly the biggest reason to watch. Even if his role is a minor one. Francisco Cogno, I hope I got your name right. Thank you for the 50 units of whatever currency that is. Hey Thorias, what's up? I agree we need more Maya before having a show about her. Yeah. It's very strange what they've done with her. Like, we haven't really gotten inside her character very much, outside of the flashbacks that set up her origin. And even then, it wasn't really that much. I mean, we see that she's deaf. We see that she has a prosthetic leg, and she learned to overcome these things. She learned to read lips. She learned martial arts, and became a great fighter. But we don't really learn who she is beyond that. Then, her dad gets killed, and then we meet her as an adult, and she's just looking for Ronin so she can get revenge on Ronin. Beyond that, I don't know who she is. She's very driven. She's in the criminal underworld. But she's very single-minded and doesn't seem to have much personality beyond wanting to get revenge on Ronin. I mean, granted, there's still one episode to go. But I personally, I need more than that. If you're going to build a whole show around this person, I got to have more than that. I'm sorry, I need more character. And right now, she doesn't have much of one. And I hate to keep bringing this up, but like it or not, it is a thing. Her not being able to speak does make that more difficult. I mean, you got to be really clever and creative with how she expresses herself and how she communicates, because she doesn't have that tool that all other characters do. So I'm not sure how a show about Echo could work, because that is going to be a hard sell. And I don't say that to be biased or insensitive, because I like the character in the comics, but I'm just saying that's the way these things work. The Echo show is going to be a hard sell, and so I'm interested to see what they do with her in the finale tonight, because I mean they could, they still have a chance to make her more interesting, but I mean there's a lot to set up here. There's a lot to finish off with Clint and Kate and Yelena and Kingpin and Kate's mom. Not really sure where Echo fits into all that. My guess would be they go after Kingpin, and maybe they get into trouble and Echo shows up at the 11th hour and saves them or something. I don't know, but I need more character from her. I agree with you on that. Episode 6 airs on Friday. Wait, no, it's Wednesday. No, I think it's tonight. They've been coming out on Wednesday. I wanted Uncle Ben in the Spider-Man movie. Boy, that would have been something, huh? I saw a tweet yesterday. Somebody did a Photoshop of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man with Spider Gwen with Emma Stone photoshopped in there to be Spider Gwen. That would have been cool. That would have been like the one scenario where I would have tolerated Spider Gwen's existence. If they could have somehow multiversed Spider Gwen into there, so Andrew Garfield's Spider Man could have gotten Gwen back. That would have been cool. I would have liked that a lot. I wanted Dunst to return as MJ in No Way Home. I actually did too. And I said this in the review. But, I mean, they did such a great job rehabbing the characters of all the villains and also Toby and Andrew. And, kind of fixing all the things that didn't work about them in the previous movies. They did such a great job with that. I actually wanted Mary Jane to show up so they could work that same magic with her. Like, I didn't like her in the Raimi movies for all the reasons most people don't like her in the Raimi movies. But man, if they could fix all these other characters, I'm like, you could do it with MJ. I mean, why not? I mean, and then like maybe Mary Jane and Michelle MJ Jones Watson could have had a scene together. That would have been cool. Because I mean, the movie spelled it out for us that MJ is the Mary Jane of this universe. So, I mean, to have them share a scene, that would have been nice. I mean, I kept waiting during the credits for like stingers with Toby and Andrew back in their own universes. Maybe we could have seen Mary Jane that way. Or maybe like a new version of Mary Jane could have shown up in Andrew's universe or something or other. It kind of sucks that we didn't get stingers with those two. I haven't seen the Black Widow movie, so maybe I'm missing the charm of this character, but was anyone else annoyed by her hypocrisy? Everything she says about Clint applies equally to Natasha. Well, I think that's kind of the point. Like, she's angry that her sister is gone, and she's not seeing things clearly. I'm fine with it because I don't expect characters to be perfect. I like them having flaws like this. I don't think we're supposed to be happy about it. It's supposed to be that Yelena is angry that her sister is gone and she's not thinking with her head right now. She just wants revenge because she doesn't know the real story. I think it's more like Yelena's angry and grieving and looking for every reason to blame Clint. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. I'm not the biggest fan of Yelena's jovial, quippy personality before and after brainwashing, considering that she was a mindless puppet with no free will. I doubt that she would even be like this. No, I've watched reviews of it and seen some clips. Now I know precisely what Yelena's personality is after she's freed from her brainwashing. Well, I think that's kind of up in the air. I think it might be a question of Yelena not really knowing who she is because she didn't really have a free will of her own for her entire life. I kind of view her as sort of an awkward teenager who still doesn't know who they are. Like, I compare who a person is like as a young person to who they are as an adult. I mean, you're not going to be the same person. You grow up to be different people most of the time. So, I see it as Yelena just trying to figure out who she is. And I think who she is kind of an awkward, like a socially awkward person who likes to disarm her targets, if you will, with sort of quirky humor before kind of getting under their skin with that and coming at them in ways they don't really expect. I think that's who she. I think that's who she is. I loved Yelena. I didn't even see the Black Widow movie, and I enjoyed her character a lot in this episode. Yeah, she's great. The Black Widow movie is not perfect by any means, but she was one of the best parts of it. Yelena was. I like her a lot. After all, it's not like the Winter Soldier became a quippy, jovial guy after Captain America saved him from his brainwashing, nor did he make jokes about it. Well, yeah, he didn't, but he's a different character. He's going to react to it differently. I kind of relate. It reminds me of a situation. I think it was in Angel back in the day. Because Angel was a vampire whose soul was restored. And then we have Spike, who was in a similar situation. Vampire whose soul is restored. They reacted to that situation very differently. Because once the soul came back, they became aware of all the horrible things they'd done as vampires. And with Angel, he just turned into an emo mess who was just tortured by all those horrible things for centuries. And Spike wasn't really bothered by it. I think Angel even made a remark about that. Look, I spent centuries trying to come to terms with all the horrible things I did. You spent 2 weeks moping in a basement and then you were fine. So, I mean, they're just different characters and have different reactions to things. Bucky had more of an Angel-type reaction. And I think Yelena's more of a Spike. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, different characters should have different reactions to that. And on top of that, we don't know if Yelena knows the whole story about Clint and Natasha's sacrifice. If she's getting all her information from Val, who knows what she knows? Yeah, I mean, nobody really knows what happened except Clint and Natasha. Yeah, I doubt that story would have been made public knowledge. And we don't know where Val's getting all this. I mean, all that stuff could have been made up. All anyone really knows is that 2 people went to get the Soul Stone and 1 person came back. So all we have to go on is Clint's word. And basically everything else could have been made up. And also, Eleanor Bishop hired her. So, I mean, Eleanor Bishop could have fed Yelena false information too. We don't really know what Yelena knows right now. Excuse me. I want to get the wife's backstory. Me too. I really think she was a SHIELD agent or like a government operative of some kind because she she seems to understand what this life means better than, like, she understands it like someone who's been through it herself. I think she was probably a SHIELD agent. Or, who knows, like NSA, CIA, or something like that. It's like some SHIELD equivalent. Laura sounds every time more like Mockingbird. But that would have been something, wouldn't it? Mockingbird's a different character. Also, that depends on whether Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is considered canon or not, which I suspect it's not at this point, because Feige doesn't really want to deal with anything that he didn't handle personally, so if he wasn't involved with it, he kind of considers it not a part of his MCU. So we don't have official word on that, but I suspect Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., as far as Feige was concerned, I suspect he considers that like part of the multiverse. Like it happened, but it was in like a parallel universe or something. Maybe. We don't know. Kind of sucks because I think... what's her name? Oh, god damn it. I don't know. Her name fell out of my head, but she was Mockingbird on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Adrian something. I don't know. I'm terrible with names. I thought she was a great Mockingbird, though. God damn it, I have to Google this now. It's bugging the hell out of me. Come on. Stupid. Come on, you stupid computer. You're working so slowly today. Adrian Palicki. God, I could not remember their last name for the life of me. I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent there. Yeah, I liked Adrian Palicki as Mockingbird, yeah. But I suspect, even though we haven't gotten confirmation yet, I suspect Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be multiversed. So that'll be a different continuity all to itself. And, yeah, Kevin Feige will want to do his own thing, probably. But if Laura was some kind of different incarnation of Mockingbird, I think that would make sense. Might kind of be a waste of Mockingbird, but it would make sense. Let's see. In the Black Widow end credits scene, Val said, "I thought you might want a shot at the person responsible for your sister's death," and showed her a picture of Clint. Yes, that is true. And now she only shows up because she was hired by Eleanor Bishop to take Clint out. There could be a reason for this. Maybe Yelena chose not to go after Clint on her own for whatever reason. We still don't know. It could just be the writers of Black Widow and Hawkeye didn't coordinate. And the Hawkeye writers had a different idea about how this should be done. And we don't know yet. We haven't seen the final episode. It's possible there's a reason for all that. Maybe they just... I think it's more likely they just didn't coordinate. It's not really a big deal. I mean, continuity is not going to be perfect all the time. I get that. And, coordinating between all these different projects with movies and shows, I mean, we got to expect a few holes from time to time. So... They could explain it. They might not. I don't think it's a huge deal. But I would like some kind of explanation there. I'm not a fan of the choreography. Choreography is awful on this show. Well, compared to what? You're comparing it to the fight choreography on Daredevil? I mean, of course it's not going to measure up. I mean, Daredevil was in a class by itself. I mean, I agree it's not as good as the fights on Daredevil, but I mean, what the hell would be? For the revivals, let's hope they remain R-rated for the previous seasons. Their appearances in the movies and Disney Plus shows will be strictly PG-13. Well, I highly doubt they'll be R-rated. Just because, I mean, you're not going to be able to do R-rated stuff on Disney Plus. I mean, this is the same streaming service that CG'd out Daryl Hannah's ass in Splash and put CG hair over her ass. So, I mean, they're not going to be able to do R-rated stuff. It's Disney. I don't think R-rated is strictly necessary. I think a strong PG-13 suffices as long as you know what you're doing. I think it would kneecap them slightly. Like, you wouldn't be able to show like so much blood or whatever. So I mean, it would be a little bit different. I don't think it's that big of an issue as long as you really know what you're doing. So yeah, we can't expect it to be exactly the same. As long as they can maintain the quality, I'm not too worried about it though. The Maya actress does really have one leg in real life, and this show is meaningful to her because she lost her real dad before the first episode appearance. Huh. Wow, that's some bad luck right there. And I'm not criticizing the actress. You know, I don't know if she's deaf in real life too. But like I said, I think she does well. She's doing well with what she's given. I think the writers need to work harder at giving her more to flesh her character out. Because right now, I mean, the part really doesn't require her to do more than scowl and do action stuff. And the action's fine. I think she does a fine job with that. But I need a little bit more of a character from her and the writers. Yeah, I'm not criticizing the actress. She can only play with what she's given. How did they get Nat's body from Vormir? Who says they did? I don't see a body anywhere. No, I think she's still there. And yeah, I doubt they got Nat's body back from Vormir. They probably just put a grave there for her. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. Let's see. And we never found out what happened to Gamora's body either. Well, I don't know if Gamora's body is a thing anymore because of the time travel shenanigans. Spider-Man could be in the finale. He could be. I doubt he will. I'd be much more excited about an appearance from Daredevil that I'm sure will not happen, but a guy can dream. No, I doubt Spider-Man's going to be in the finals. The finale, excuse me. No, I hope, given the way that movie ended, I hope Peter is just having some fun. No, I hope he's just taking the holidays to just have a good time. He's earned himself a little bit of fun. Because Lord knows he was up shit creek at the end of that movie. Fisk is the best villain easily, I think. Hell yeah. I agree, they need to give us more about Maya to make her worth a whole show. Her story is not compelling. Yeah. Where am I? All right. Maya has a lot of potential as a character, and I'm looking forward to see how they develop her as a character. Well, yeah, there's potential there. It's all largely untapped right now. Because, like I said, I like the character in the comics. I still don't think she's a lead character, but I think she was in the Avengers for a little bit, and I liked her in there. I think she took over the Ronin persona in there, and that was cool. I liked her in the comics. I don't think her place is necessarily as a lead character. That would probably work better in the comics, but TV is a different medium, and TV, it's going to be a lot more complicated to get people on board with a character like that. Do you think we'll get a Young Avengers movie? Possibly. I think it's more likely they will do a Young Avengers Disney Plus show. Sorry, man, my voice today, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, they're not doing all this setup for nothing. I mean, there's going to be some kind of Young Avengers project. What form it'll take, I don't know. I think it's more likely they will do a Disney Plus series. Spider-Man has to encounter the Kingpin at some point. Like, does he really, though? I mean, yeah, they've crossed paths plenty of times, but, I mean, Kingpin's really more of a Daredevil villain. Let's see. For Maya to have her own show, they better give us something good to hold on to in the Hawkeye finale. Agreed? I don't watch any movie until Thorias reviews it. I don't watch the movie or show. Really? Okay. Well, I appreciate the support. I don't think it's strictly necessary that you put that much stock in what I have to say. I do appreciate it, though. Wow. I mean, don't deny yourself some of the good stuff that's out there, because I can't review everything. Kingpin and the Daredevil characters will pop up in Echo, with the former as the antagonist and the latter as a supporting character who will appear in the revival. Hopefully, yeah. If Kingpin and Daredevil are in the Echo show, I will be watching. I just won't be watching for Echo. And Daredevil will be in She-Hulk? Well, that's been heavily speculated on. I mean, they've got the perfect way to do it. They're both lawyers. I mean, they could be colleagues. It would make perfect sense. They're going to need a fast pace and tight writing to wrap everything up in just one more episode. That's true. I am expecting a longer than usual episode. And also, given that there's so much to wrap up, I'm kind of suspecting that we won't see that much of Kingpin. Like, maybe he'll show up at the end for a scene or two, but it seems pretty clear that this has just been setting the stage for him to be the main bad guy of the Echo show. So I hope we get a lot from him. I'm crossing my fingers, but I'm not expecting that much. I think it's more likely that the main conflict of the finale will have to do with Eleanor Bishop and the Yelena stuff, with maybe Kingpin showing up at the very end, which sucks, but it's honestly, it's enough to know that he's back, and we're gonna get more from him. I think you do some of the best reviews out there. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching. I'm my own worst critic. I tend to think that nothing I ever do is good enough. So it always kind of it's always a little bit intimidating when I see comments like that. Because my stuff could always be better. God knows my live streams could be better. But to know there's some people out there who think that, that's I'm very appreciative. I really am. And hopefully I can raise my game enough to where I agree with you that my stuff is really that good. I'm surprised all the Spider Women didn't show up to replace the Peters because they mess it all up being men at all. Do you mean like Jessica Drew and all those characters? Well, it's probably because it's a Sony thing. I think Sony probably has all the rights to those people. And, all the Marvel MCU Spider-Man movies are kind of like a joint production with Marvel and Sony, so Marvel kind of handles the creative, but Sony has to have their say in everything, too. It wasn't really necessary that Jessica Drew shows up. But, I can't imagine we won't see some Jessica Drew project at some point. Excuse me. The flaw in Spider-Man No Way Home about Venom you didn't like because of not knowing how Venom ended up there when he doesn't know who Spider-Man is. Have you seen the ones... Wait, what? Eddie Brock... Have you seen the one scene in Eddie Brock that Venom is part of a hive mind and they know everything going on from millions of years in the multiverse? Since Venom went to... What? You're not making sense here, dude. I know in the Stinger in Venom 2, the symbiote says, "Whoa, look at that guy. I want to go see, what he's about," or something like that. Like, the symbiote was, drawn to Peter for some reason. As far as I could tell, like Eddie Brock and the symbiote do not know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Like, they didn't know that prior to getting sucked into the MCU. And that was the rule of the spell. Like, it was sucking in everybody from the multiverse who knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Eddie and the symbiote didn't know that. Or if they somehow did, then it was not explained. Unless I'm drastically misreading the situation. Venom Let There Be Carnage when Venom told Eddie Brock Venom is part of a hive mind and they know everything going on for millions of years in So Venom is part of a hive mind that knows everything from all the... like all the Venoms from across the multiverse know the same thing. Yeah, that feels like bullshit to me. Sorry. Ugh. Do you think we're going to get a Ghost Rider in the MCU? At some point, yeah. Again, it kind of depends on if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon or not. Because I really liked the version of Robbie Reyes that they did. I wouldn't mind some kind of project with him. That'd be cool. They were going to do a show, like a Hulu show with him at one point, but that got axed. But yeah, we'll see Ghost Rider show up in the MCU eventually. Which version of the character it is anyone's guess. I mean, there was a rumor at one point that they were going to do like a female Ghost Rider with Stephanie Beatriz, which I would not have been against, because Stephanie Beatriz is a badass, and I like her a lot. But no, I don't know if it'll be Johnny Blaze or Dan Ketch or Robbie Reyes or some new version. It's some Ghost Rider will show up eventually. They should just recast Black Panther. Well, I think we're kind of past that point. I think that window is closed, because if they were to recast Black Panther, then they'd have to ditch everything that they've shot for the sequel already. They'd have to go back to the drawing board, rewrite the whole script. So if they were going to recast Black Panther, they should have done that after Chadwick died. Like, now it's kind of too late. I mean, if there's any recasting going on, they'll be recasting Shuri. Because apparently What's-Her-Face is causing all this drama with her anti-vax stuff and getting injured and delaying production and not wanting to do certain things and saying that she wants out after this movie and doesn't want to appear in the MCU anymore and all this other shit. So, I mean, if anyone gets recast, I think there's still time to recast Shuri, which might be for the best at this point, the way things are going. But recasting T'Challa, no, I think that window's closed. I think it's too late for that now. I'm pretty sure Yelena knows the real story just because everyone expects her to misjudge the situation. I'm sure Clint told the real story to people as he wants them to know what Natasha did. I don't know about that, because Yelena's behavior suggests that she doesn't know what really happened. Now, I'm sure Clint told his friends and, told the Avengers about what happened, but, I don't know if... I'm not sure... I'm not so sure Yelena knows. Also, I mean, how would Clint even find Yelena, first of all? Also, Yelena's kind of an adult with a child's mind. She missed her childhood and she's making up for it. Yeah. Totally. Her childhood ended very abruptly. She went right to finding out her entire life was a lie as a small child, and then she went right into the Red Room. So, I would kind of expect her to be, to think about these things from an emotional standpoint like a child would. It's kind of like, Willy from Game of Thrones. How his family were killed by wildlings, and then when Jon wanted to make peace with the wildlings, Willy betrayed him. Because he's a kid. He's not old enough or mature enough to understand how complex the situation is. He sees the wildlings and he's like, they killed my parents, therefore they are evil. He didn't have the maturity to kind of grasp how they need the wildlings to survive the larger threat that's out there. It's kind of like what Yelena is. She's she's an adult, but she's emotionally immature about things because she didn't really have the chance to grow and develop like into a normal adult. So she's kind of like emotionally stunted that way. So she's thinking about this from a very emotional standpoint. She says, "Oh, Clint Barton and my sister went away to get the Soul Stone. Only Clint came back. Well, it's his fault that she's gone. Then I think that's her mindset about this." Didn't the Avengers have to hide the truth about time travel? That could be dangerous info to get out. Oh, I'm positive they hid the truth about time travel. I mean, they didn't have to tell people exactly how they did it. I mean, it's enough to tell the public, yeah, we got the Infinity Stones. We got them back. The details aren't important. It's enough to know that we just got them back. I can't imagine the public knows what really happened. Excuse me. I think maybe that end credit scene actually takes place after Kate's mom hires the assassin, and then Val comes to Yelena at her sister's grave to give her the job. Yeah, that could have been it. Yeah, that's a very simple way to tie the whole thing together. That could have been it, exactly. Can't wait to see Tatiana Maslany in She-Hulk. She was phenomenal in Orphan Black. You know, I've never seen Orphan Black. I mean, I've heard great things about it. Never actually seen the show. I am very interested to see She-Hulk, though. I mean, I'm approaching that show with great skepticism due to how just what a jackass, what's her name, made of herself on social media. But it's already, the existence of the She-Hulk show is already having a positive effect because, like, the real She-Hulk is back in the comics now. Or at least she's coming back in a new series. Like, for a while, they were trying to turn She-Hulk into... They were just turning her into the Hulk, basically. I mean, she was looking very mannish, and she was, like, turning into, like, the savage, mindless brute like the Hulk would, because... Well, I don't really know. But because, God forbid, you know, a female character be attractive and sexy and stuff, right? Yeah, well, that didn't work out, so now they're bringing her back to the version everybody likes. And I suspect the upcoming She-Hulk Disney Plus show has a lot to do with that. Oh, the actress is actually deaf. Huh, go figure. Wouldn't Gamora's body be on this timeline's Vormir while Natasha's body is in a whole other timeline? Man, you are asking the wrong person. Man, the time travel stuff is so confusing in general. I mean, the writers had to jump through so many hoops to explain how it works in that movie, and even then they still couldn't get all the plot holes. Look, I sort of understand why changing the past doesn't change the future, because Bruce went through all that. I mean, there's still the problem of how they can save everybody through time travel by going to the past and bringing them to the present. There's still no explanation about why they can't do that. Like, I mean, because if you think about it, I mean, they have the technology to bring Tony back and bring Natasha back, and they just won't do it. And this is the kind of problem you run into when you're doing stories about time travel. I mean, unless you nail down every single plot hole, I mean, this shit just isn't going to make sense. So, yeah, there are inconsistencies there. So, Where's Gamora's body? Does it even exist anymore? I don't know. All I know is the past version of Gamora is alive in this reality. I guess that's the primary Gamora now. Beyond that, who the hell knows? Is Mysterio in the MCU an underrated villain? It seems he doesn't get the same love as the other top villains. If he doesn't get the same love as the other top villains, he should be, because Mysterio was awesome. Thought he was definitely one of the best villains they've done. Considering Marvel is officially acknowledging the Netflix shows now, Matt has got to be in the finale, or at least a tease, to be honest. Well, we don't know if they're officially acknowledging the Netflix shows. Because with the multiverse out there, everything's up in the air. I think I think what a lot of people are theorizing is that this will be just a different version of those characters from the Netflix shows. Like, maybe they were their own thing, and this is a new continuity. It's just the same actors playing the characters, because multiverse. Because when you play the multiverse card, you can get away with all sorts of weird stuff. Because we don't know for sure, but I know that when last we saw Kingpin in the Daredevil show, he was going to prison again. So maybe if it's the same Kingpin, then maybe he got out again somehow. I don't know. If it's a new Kingpin, then the same rules don't apply. Wasn't Matt in the new Spider-Man movie? Yes, he was. He was Peter Parker's lawyer. That would kind of confirm him to be in the MCU. Doesn't really need to be in this show. He doesn't need to be, but it would be really fucking cool if he was. Also, I mean, Kingpin is, Daredevil's arch nemesis. Well, one of them. So, where there's Kingpin, Daredevil is usually not far behind. Though I don't need him to play a big role, but if he's there, I mean, it would be cool if there was a Daredevil tease. It would be really fucking cool. I would geek out like a fiend if there was. I'm not expecting it. Because like, for now, it's just enough to know that he's back. And No Way Home did that for me. So, if it's just Kingpin in Hawkeye episode 6, you know what? I'm good. I'm good for a while. I can be patient for more. I can be patient. Maybe in the finale, Maya takes the suit and becomes Ronin like her comic counterpart with a vendetta against Kingpin and teams up with Daredevil. That could be a thing. And that would make a lot of sense. And that would be a great selling point for the Echo show, and let's be honest, they're probably going to need one. Because I don't think Echo by herself is going to do it. But if you throw Kingpin and Daredevil in there, that's going to generate a lot of interest. I don't think it's a problem that Maya can't talk, it just depends on the writing and the director. Millicent Simmons is a deaf actress, and she was fantastic in A Quiet Place. Yeah, like, it's not really the character. I mean, you can make something like that work, but you gotta be really, you gotta be really smart about how you do it. And I think, I mean, if the actress has been good in other stuff, great. Then I think it all depends on the writers just giving her the material to make this work. And right now, I think she hasn't had that yet. Think the Young Avengers will get some setup in Quantumania? Well, I mean, Stature's going to be in there, right? I mean, they recast Cassie with it, which kind of sucks because the girl who played Cassie in Endgame was really good. I mean, she was only in there for like 2 quick scenes, but damn, I cried in that first one when Scott found Cassie again. I mean, I cried in that scene. I thought that actress was really good, but they recast her for Quantumania, so I don't see why they wouldn't, give her the stature powers. So there's going to be set up right there. I don't know if we'll see any of the other Young Avengers. I don't think we need to. But, they've been really taking their time with that. We see, Patriot shows up and Falcon Winter Soldier. I mean, Cassie has been a part of the Ant-Man movies from the first one. And now we're getting Kate Bishop. I think, there's, Speed and Wiccan from WandaVision who are going to be aged up to teenagers in Multiverse of Madness, I imagine. I mean, they've been taking their time with that to set up all these characters. I don't think it's necessary to do crossovers right away. They need to make a Gambit and Rogue TV show. That would be so cool. I would watch the hell out of that. Now, I heard a rumor at one point that Kevin Feige was a big fan of Gambit and wanted to do a Gambit show. And, if there's... Gambit's one of the characters that you can do that with in the X-Men canon. Wolverine, he's Wolverine and Gambit, they're solo characters. I mean, they work in a team environment, but they've also had solo series. So a Gambit show can work. He's one of the characters you can do that with. If they wanted to throw Rogue in there, hell yeah. I don't know if that's the best way to introduce Rogue, because I know a lot of people are still kind of crossing their fingers that we'll see her fuck up Carol Danvers in the Captain Marvel movies. So who knows how they're going to introduce her? But yeah, a Gambit show, yeah, that'd be great. And we have another super chat. James B, thank you so much for the 1999. Wow. Oh, excuse me. No questions or comments, but hey, give it up for James B. That's a big one. Yeah, well. It seems like Marvel is just now throwing it all into the wall and seeing what sticks. So sad considering how concise the Infinity Saga was. Well, with the Infinity Saga, they were just doing it through movies, because Disney Plus wasn't really a thing yet. Now they're doing all these shows on top of that, which I suspect they do have some kind of plan in place for all those shows. But with the sheer volume of content that they're producing right now, it just stands to reason that they weren't going to be as concise as they were before. So, we don't know if they're all going to tie together. I kind of suspect they won't. But, I mean, not everything really needs to. Like, not everything needs to be a part of a larger story. It can just be sort of self-contained. I mean, maybe one show can kind of lead you into something else, but it doesn't have to really go beyond that, I'm confused on MJ. Is she returning, or is Peter going to go for a new love interest? And also, Deadpool better return in the next Spider-Man and recognize him as Peter Parker. Who knows? Well, as far as MJ goes, I don't know. I think there's a story to tell with. Well, I don't want to ruin the end of the movie for anyone. But I think there's a story to tell with keeping MJ around. There's also a story for her not returning. I kind of think they'd be. It would be a mistake to not bring her back. Just because, I mean, she is a big part of those movies now. And also, with Zendaya's a pretty, quickly rising star in show business. So, I mean, losing her would be kind of dumb. Also, I'm sure Tom Holland would love to keep her around, since they're a thing. Yeah, I'm not sure which way which way they're going to go with that. I mean, because I think there's a good story to tell either way. And I'm not sure which way would be more compelling, honestly, from a story standpoint. From a business standpoint, I think they ought to keep her around. Creatively, who knows? Although it is, considering that they firmly established her as the Mary Jane of the MCU, I don't know how you do that and not bring her back. I mean, yeah, Peter Parker's had other love interests, but, I mean, MJ is kind of it, I mean, maybe he goes to work for the Daily Bugle in the next movie, and Betty Brant is there, and maybe they have a thing, or maybe you introduce Felicia Hardy, who knows, but, I mean, once you've established that MJ is his Mary Jane, I mean, I don't know if there's any going back after that. Sadly, Daredevil won't be canon because Blade's actor is in it as a villain. Well, no, Blade's actor was in Luke Cage as a villain. But, he would not be the first actor to play two roles in the MCU. Just saying. That has happened before. You sound like you need a drink of water. Yeah, I've got water here. It doesn't do much. Predictions on anyone dying in the finale? Eleanor Bishop, maybe? Yeah, I highly doubt Clint or Kate are dying. It's a Christmas show. You're not going to have any big dramatic deaths in a Christmas show. Come on. If anyone dies, I think Eleanor Bishop is the only one on the chopping block. Maybe, Eleanor Bishop dies and then, Clint brings Kate to his home for Christmas or something. I mean, everyone else, they kind of need to stick around. Your stuff is honest. That's why I watch. Oh, thank you. Who's the next Spider-Man villain you want to see? Well, that's tough. I mean, they teed up the Black Costume saga, but if they want to do it right this time, I mean, they got to do a whole movie doing just that. Assuming that's the next one. I don't think it necessarily needs to be, but say in the next movie, Peter gets the black suit. Well, we got to have, he's got to have a villain to fight that kind of brings out, kind of encourages his darker impulses, right? Not sure who that could be. We haven't seen Kraven yet, but, Sony wants to do a Kraven solo movie, so he's off the table probably. We haven't seen Scorpion. I know Matt Gargan had a little bit of had a small role in Homecoming, so we know Matt Gargan is out there somewhere. I think Scorpion might work. And they did establish the Daily Bugle in this one. So there's a story out there. Maybe Peter, starts working at the Daily Bugle to pay the rent, and maybe instead of pictures, he's selling like iCam video footage of Spider-Man, and Jameson's a thing in there too now. So maybe, yeah, we know Jameson is involved in the origin of Scorpion. I think Scorpion could work. He'd be a good one to do. He'd be a good one to use. Yeah, yeah. That's my choice. I choose Scorpion. The after credits scene in Venom 2 would make him know Tom's Peter as Spider-Man. No. Well, yeah, it would, but he'd already been sucked into the MCU universe at that point. Wouldn't he need to know before he got sucked in? That was the rule of the spell, right? Would have been better to get the Topher Grace Venom. Yeah. That would have made more sense. Because he knew about Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And weirdly enough, that version of the Venom symbiote was more comics accurate than the Tom Hardy version. Oh, Lord. At least that version of the symbiote wasn't an annoying little prick. Oy. Feige saw his opportunity to have a female Black Panther after Chadwick died, even when almost everyone wanted to recast the dude something else. Did almost everyone want to recast? I'm not sure about that. I think the possibility was raised, but from what I saw, people seemed really resistant about the whole thing. I'm not sure. Plus, I mean, Shuri does become the Black Panther in the comics. I don't read the Black Panther comics, so I don't know what they're doing right now. But I believe there is a story to tell with her being the Panther. So it's not like they're going against the canon or anything. Also, I mean, let's be honest, Shuri was one of the breakout characters of the first movie. I mean, if you're talking about breakout characters in Black Panther, I got news for you. You're not talking about T'Challa. You're talking about Shuri. You're talking about Killmonger. You're talking about Okoye. He was... I mean, yeah, it was T'Challa's movie, but he's one of the less interesting characters in it, if we're being really honest with ourselves here. So, I mean, wanting to kind of shift gears and make Shuri the Panther, and from a creative aspect, I understand that. Even if the actress is making things really difficult for them in real life. Alright. Okay, my voice is dying. Let's try to wrap this up. They found out Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and clip. 1 minute 20... An hour 20, 27 minutes 20 seconds into the film. Venom states this: 80 billion light years of hive knowledge across universes will explode your tiny little brain. Okay. Still doesn't make a lot of sense, though. I mean, across universes doesn't necessarily imply a multiverse. I mean, if he was talking about multiverse stuff, why didn't he just say that? I don't know. I mean, if that's their explanation, then they could have made that a lot clearer. I'm just saying. Are you on an oxygen concentrator right now? Nope. Nope. A blind character and a deaf character working together on a show would be very interesting. All they have to do is stab out Cox's eyes to give the same weight as Echo's actor. Yeah, I don't think Charlie Cox would be on board with that. I mean, Daredevil and Echo working together would make for an interesting dynamic. I mean, just working out how they communicate would be kind of a challenge. Marvel messing with comics again. The Punisher's new logo got changed. It looks like shit. Yeah, I saw that. Looks awful. Don't know what they're thinking. Will you watch Dota Dragon's Blood Season 2? I didn't know they were getting a Season 2. Yeah, I'll watch it. I will admit I found the Season 1 kind of confusing. I think they were playing to people who were fans of the games. I'd never played the game, so... Excuse me. Yeah, I'd never played the game it was based on, so I wasn't really sure what was going on a lot of the time. But, you know, I like the animation, I like the actors, and... You know, there were elements of the story I enjoyed, so yeah, I'll watch Season 2. Has Season 2 been confirmed yet, or is that just speculation? I don't know. Thoughts on Witcher Season 2? Yeah. Alright, so I watched Witcher Season 2. I finished it the other day. It's a lot easier to understand than Season 1 was, just because they stopped doing all the timeline shenanigans. Like, the whole thing was linear. They're not jumping all over the place with the timeline. Like, this one is in the future, and the next episode is 20 years in the past. And, except these 3 scenes, which take place in the present. Season 1 was confusing. Season 2, the whole thing's linear. And, that fixes a lot of stuff. It's much easier to follow. And, yeah, we got, everyone's storyline kind of matches up, and Ciri is training to become a fighter, and she wants to be a Witcher, and, Geralt doesn't want that for her, and, you know, she's got magic she can't really control, and then you've got Yennefer over here, and she's lost her powers, and she's trying to get them back, and it all kind of converges, and, yeah, I mean... Just like structurally, everything was much better handled. I thought the CG with the monsters was a lot better. Like in Season 1, there were a couple pretty iffy ones, but here, I don't know if they saved up all their budget for the big fight scene at the end, but yeah, the monsters looked a lot better. So it felt to me like the writers tried to simplify everything and make it all a little bit more streamlined. So you've got Geralt and Ciri and Yennefer, and then you've got this other subplot with the elves, and they just try to focus on the core elements, and I think it was a big improvement over Season 1. Not that Season 1 was bad, but... you know, there were criticisms about it. Also, I think they're using a different editor this time, as the editing was one of the problems I had with season one. Because the editing to me felt a lot better this time around. But yeah, I would recommend season two. I don't know if I had that much to say about it, which is why I probably won't be doing a review. I don't know if I'll have time to either. Anyway, because I got The Matrix coming up. This week. And then who knows what else. Oh God, Batwoman's coming back in like 2 weeks, isn't it? I think January 6th it's back. Oh God, God help me. But who knows? Oh, also Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai season 4 on December 31st, right? Yes, I want to do something with Cobra Kai season 4. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll have time to do anything about Witcher season 2. I did enjoy it though. It was a step up from season 1 in my opinion. Will you be watching or reviewing Superman and Lois Season 2? I need to get caught up on that show. Reviewing it, possibly, but probably not. Just because the Batwoman reviews are kind of what suck in the viewers for me, so that's what those videos kind of have to take precedent. And if I'm doing 2 long-form videos like that a week, I won't really have time for anything else. So I tried doing that for a little bit. It didn't really work out. So I think I think my time is better spent doing the Batwoman reviews, because that's what people want me to do, and then taking the rest of my free time to kind of change it up and review a movie here or a Netflix show there, and kind of diversify a little bit. Because if I'm just doing Batwoman and Superman and Lois, then things are... I feel like things might get a little boring, or I might get a little bored doing it, I think it's better if I leave myself room to talk about other stuff. I got a couple more super chats here. Oh boy. Josem Tapia. Oh God, I butchered that one so bad. JOSEMTAPIA 711. That's the best I can do, sorry. Thank you for the $2. Thoughts on the DC Comics CW trailer for Naomi? I have not seen it yet. I didn't know it was out yet. I haven't really been paying attention to really anything Bendis has done in DC for a while now, because as I understand it, he was getting... They gave him too much creative freedom, and he went full Bendis on DC. As I understand it, he ruined Superboy, he ruined Tim Drake, and he came up with these garbage new characters that everybody hates, like what Teen Lantern is a thing now for some reason, and Naomi is one of his crap new creations. I haven't read the comics, but so I don't know what's going on with her. But yeah, I guess CW wasted no time in making a TV show about her, because every comics character has to have their own show now. Now, yeah, I haven't seen the trailer. Maybe I can talk about it at another time, but I have not seen it yet. And Justin's Epic Voice Recordings, thank you for the $5. No question or comment, but hey, thank you very much. Thank you to all our super chats. That's so nice of you guys. And I don't beg for super chats. I feel weird doing that, but it's always really nice when you guys donate to help keep the show going like this. Could the Echo Show be a placeholder title for another character? Daredevil, maybe? I think it would be great if Daredevil showed up. I think it would make a lot of sense. I don't think so. Yeah, a placeholder for another kid? No, I don't think so. I mean, Marvel has been getting more political, let's face it. So I think they honestly think this is a good idea to give Echo her own show. I think, judging by the way the character has come off so far, I think they may have underestimated how difficult that might be to pull off. Let's just leave it at that. I asked about the oxygen concentrator because the little puff of air I keep hearing in your background. No, I think that's just me sniffling. Yeah, I'm just really congested today. Dota Dragon's Blood Season 2 trailer. Oh, they have a trailer already. Alright, cool. Alright, I'll watch that when I'm done with this. Are you excited to see Blue Beetle? You know, I have pretty much everything I know about Blue Beetle I learned from the retrospective Linkara did. So, I mean, I'll be interested to see it. Gotta be honest, I don't have high hopes for pretty much anything DC is doing right now with the DCEU, but yeah, I'll see it. Plus, I like the actor who is Miguel on Cobra Kai. I think that's cool. So, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm excited for it exactly, but I'll see it. I'll see the movie. Beyond that, I can't promise anything. What did you think of the 5-part Flash Armageddon episodes? You know, I did not watch them. Yeah, I knew it wasn't really a crossover. It was really just like a 5-parter Flash episode with the other characters guest starring. So I didn't see any reason to review it, and I didn't really have time to review it anyway. From what I heard, it was really, really, really bad, which is what I think just about everyone expects from a Flash at this point. But yeah, if I'm not reviewing it, no way in hell was I going to watch it, because, you know, no, I am not going back to the Flash unless I absolutely have to. I'm not up to date. How was Superboy ruined? Well, he was aged up. I think Bendis turned him from like a 10-year-old contemporary of Damian Wayne's into like a teenager. Also, apparently he's gay now. I'm not sure if that was a Bendis idea or if it was someone else. But I think Bendis was behind turning him into a teenager, which is really dumb because I think people were really enjoying the Super Sons title. Or at least one of the YouTubers I've followed was enjoying it, and then that went away, so Bendis could do whatever he wanted. And Bendis just seems like he's become really, really full of himself and really arrogant, and doesn't care about like the history of these characters or just continuity in general, and just wants to flip over every table and turn the characters into what he wants them to be, rather than what their history and their characters dictate that they should be. And yeah, just wow, it's crazy how far Bendis has fallen. I mean, back in once upon a time, I would have bought any comic that guy wrote, because he really was like one of the best writers in comics. Now, man, that guy's gone so far off the reservation. I don't know what happened to him. All right, guys, my voice is really dying here. Also, I have to blow my nose too. So I'm gonna call it there. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Wow, it's almost 11 o'clock. We've been going for a while. Yeah, thanks to everybody who tuned in. I'm sorry we can't schedule these things in advance. YouTube still won't let me do that. But as long as that's the thing, I'll continue starting these streams a little bit early, so people have time to find it. Also, I'll keep putting notices in the community tab and on Twitter. So if you want to be notified about when streams are starting or when they're being scheduled or when I'm going to plan to do them, that's the best way to find out. Check the community tab regularly. Follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description. Thank you to everybody who showed up and commented. Thanks to everybody who super chatted. Francisco Cogno. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. Thank you very much. James B. with a very generous super chat. Thank you so much. Oh, God. Josem Tapia 711. I'm so sorry. I'm sure I got your name wrong. But thank you for the $2. And Justin's Epic Voice Recordings. Thank you very much for the super chat. I'm so sorry my voice sounds like garbage. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. Nothing I try seems to help. Hopefully it will get better once we get through this part of the winter. Fingers crossed. So thank you again, everybody who tuned in. I'm going to go watch those trailers now. It's Dota Dragon's Blood Season 2 and Naomi. Who knows what's going to happen there. Yeah, so I'll check those out. Maybe you guys can ask me about that the next time we do one of these streams and I can give my thoughts on those. Also, Hawkeye Episode 6, I believe, airs in a few hours. I think it drops at like 3 a.m., right? Yeah, it should. So, hopefully Kingpin will show up and do something cool there. And who knows if anyone else is going to show up, I don't know. But, yeah, so I'm going to watch that. And I think coming up next will be a Matrix Resurrections review. Hopefully I can see that tomorrow. And then maybe have the video or the review up by Friday. Fingers crossed. Hopefully. That'd be nice. And yeah, then presumably we'll have the next Hawkeye stream again on Tuesday, because that's just when we've been doing them now. All right, so thank you for showing up. Thank you for chatting with me for a little while. Again, I'm very sorry about my voice. And I will see you guys in a few days. Peace out.